And so today we're here to see if we can make ourselves another custom figure to fit in with the Star Wars bunch. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Let me go ahead and pull up the comments so I can see what you guys are saying. And let's see. It's like no one's on here yet. Wow. Hopefully I made this a public video. Oh, someone's on there now. Of course, that might be me. If you're on here, sound off so I know if anybody else has joined me. And then let's go ahead and talk about some He-Man Star Wars fun. I think I'm all alone. I'm all alone. All right. So let me go ahead and just jump into it anyway. Oh, there's somebody. Hey, commenteer. I'm glad I'm not alone. I thought I might have been the only person on here. So let's first start out with a little bit of Star Wars for fun. So when I was a kid, hey, Mike. Star Wars was one of my first action figure loves. I loved the movie as a kid. I remember standing in line, waiting to see it with my grandparents, and they had this poster that shows Luke holding his lightsaber up, and Princess Leia was kind of at his leg, and Darth Vader's face was in the background with the Death Star and the X-Wing fighters coming in, and you could see his shirt was open and he was all muscular and huge, and it was an awesome poster that they had. I was a little disappointed when I saw the movie, not seeing this muscle-bound Luke Skywalker, but that's okay. I survived and I actually enjoyed the movie a whole lot. Hey Charles, thanks for joining us. And so, of course, as you guys know, liking Masters of the Universe, I've always wanted to mix the two together. And I've gone through a plethora of trying to mix these, especially back with the 80s figures. The 80s He-Man figures obviously were lower, but not as short as the original Star Wars figures, which were under 4 inches. So I remember I used to have my Micronauts and my Star Wars figures. They were the same height. And then we had one female, which was Princess Leia. And then I had my He-Man figures that were newer to me. And they were like the giants of the land. And so then as time went on, I kept trying to find a good R2-D2 that would match my He-Man figures. And eventually I found one. It was a little kid's toy, had a giant feet and had little claws that gripped and stuff. I have him somewhere around in this room. But he was what I used for a long time to mesh with the 80s He-Man figures. But then we have classics. And this size is really hard to come by because obviously these Star Wars figures here are just like little kids. Knocked them all over next to a He-Man figure. I mean, Luke looks like he's some little 12-year-old kid next to He-Man. It's 12-year-old Luke, which is, it's cool if you want a 12-year-old Luke or a 9-year-old Princess Leia. Then you have the right figure. But we don't want a 12-year-old Luke and a 9-year-old Princess Leia. We want full-size figures. So, as you guys know, one of the first figures I made was Darth Vader. And at the end of all my videos, there he is, the cool Darth Vader. And I basically took this Darth Vader here, the 40th anniversary one, and combined him with some He-Man figure parts. And eventually made this cool, really awesome Darth Vader that fits in with the He-Man world. Now, in the He-Man world, everyone is the same height. When it comes to classics, for a long time, they were all the same height. There was no difference. Everybody had the same buck, and the females were also about the same height as the male figures were, as you can see. So the females, the males, all the same height. In some cases, the female is just slightly taller, but they were all the same. So even though Darth Vader in the movie is taller, in the He-Man world, he's the same height. So there we go. So then I made my Princess Leia. Princess Leia! Which I tried to make her, I tried to first scan her head and make it bigger. It just didn't work. Then eventually I used Mara's head and had to use 2 Princess Leia suits to stretch them on to make them bigger to make it work. So there you go. And then I used the belt from the larger Princess Leia and the small belt from the small Princess Leia to use as a necklace. And there is our Princess Leia. And here's the alternate version of her when she's dressed in her Hut Slayer suit. So there she is. So those are my 2 Princess Leia's that you can see. And so then I've been on the lookout like forever for a good R2-D2. And I have gone through a plethora of R2-D2s. This one was too big. And then I found this heavy metal one. This thing's made of metal. It's just awesome. And it is just the right height for R2-D2 in the He-Man world. Look at that. Look at that. That is like the perfect R2-D2 height. But it took forever to find one this height. I've gone through the R2-D2 models and everything else trying to make one. It was just crazy, all the stuff. So the next thing I need to do is I need to make a C-3PO that's the right height. And so I figured, oh, if the metal R2-D2 worked, then the metal C-3PO should work. So here's the metal C-3PO. And I don't know what's going on here. The R2-D2 is the right height, but the C-3PO is just a little bit too short. As you can see, not quite tall enough to measure up to Masters of the Universe Classics figures. And he's really heavy. The articulation on him is just stinky, stinky. So I've gone through a lot of C-3POs trying to find the right one to make it work. Let me see here. I got this one right here too, which is cool. The back of his head comes off. And he's actually just a little shorter than the metal one. So I was kind of disappointed that the metal one actually is larger, just not large enough. So there you go. Now they did make what do you call it? Boba Fett that was a 7-inch Boba Fett. Look at this. This is an actual uncustomized Boba Fett. He came from the Disney store, and I bought a couple of them, one for me and one for my friend. And my friend's big into Star Wars. And there is the Boba Fett. Boba Fett, and he actually pairs up nicely with a Classics figure. So that is pretty cool. Hold on, my light's dying. I gotta swap it out. Swap out the light. There's a new one. I'll put this one on the charger so it's ready in a few minutes. And I have another one ready to go just in case. All right, so I was hoping since they made this 7-inch line that they would also make an R2-D2, a C-3PO to fit this line, but I haven't seen it yet. If you guys seen it and I missed it, let me know, because I haven't looked for a while now. I should have looked before I went ahead and did my thing I did. Star Wars Uniforce, laughing out loud. I don't know, I tried. Oh, I see. Uniforce, like Masters of the Universe. There you go. So there is the Boba Fett that is too large to work with anything inside your normal Star Wars stuff, but is awesome to work with your He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Look at that. It's the right size. It's so crazy. And again, it was a special Disney release, but I'm hoping that they make a C-3PO this size and I'd just be done and I'd be over it and I'd have a C-3PO. Like I said, I need to go back and check and see if they've actually made one, because I did not check to see. Anyway, so long story short, I went and I bought a C-3PO head from, like it was like a key ring or something, and it was from those pop toys, what they're called, Pops, I guess just Pop. And the head is actually C-3PO, believe it or not, but they made it all cutesy pie, and it just didn't quite fit with what I'm going with. So I was like, yeah, it is a C-3PO head, but it doesn't look very C-3PO-ish. If I didn't tell you a C-3PO, you just think of some other strange robot, right? You wouldn't even know it was C-3PO himself. You would just say, oh, he has some kind of weird gold robot. Well, I guess it could be C-3PO. Maybe. So I ended up buying this expensive C-3PO thinking this will be it. This will be an extra large one. This will be the one. And sure enough, it was the same stinky size. Even though people told me it was bigger, it's a different brand. It's actually maybe even a little shorter than the standard black figure. So I was like, oh. So now I got this expensive C-3PO that's super high detailed from Revotech or whatever. Revoltech. And Granted, it has lots of articulation, and people who have Star Wars Black, this is probably awesome for you. But for people that want to make an extra large figure that doesn't fit anything that you have, if you're a Star Wars collector like me, it's not going to work. Anyway, so what have I done now? Well, I am kind of liking this figure, except for a couple things. I need to somehow change this out to make it the circular thing, and I need to put some kind of wires or something in the middle here. So I need to make the black part here, add some wires to it, and then change and put a circular piece that comes up here somehow on his chest to give him that kind of look that we see from C-3PO. So first thing to solve is the head. So I bought this online on a store called Fleabay. Actually, it's called eBay, but I like to call it Fleabay. And it just came in the mail. Well, it came in the mail the other day, but I didn't have a chance to check it till today. So I went to the P.O. box today, and I grabbed this out of the P.O. box. And hopefully this will be the answer to my solution for a large C-3PO head to go on that other body. I haven't even looked at it yet, so I have no idea. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. All right. As you can see, it is a large head C-3PO. Large head C-3PO! So I'm hoping that this will work for what I'm doing. Now, it's a limited edition one, so it kind of stinks that I'll be ripping it apart and stealing his head. And then I'll be taking his head and making it non-metallicized so it can match that body over there. So I'll be destroying this poor figure. Now, I am excited about the new black figures. They have a new Luke Skywalker and a new Princess Leia that's coming out that has plastic goods instead of soft goods. And I'm just curious how they can look. So I have them both on pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store. So I'm kind of excited about that too. All right, let's see who's with us here. Charles, C-3PO with muscles. Yeah. It's just so funny to have robots in the He-Man world with muscles, like Roboto. And of course Faker, but Faker still look like He-Man. That's why he has the muscles. But let's just hope this head will be close. If it's not close, I hope it's bigger. If it's bigger, then I can scan it in. And when you shrink things down that are scanned in, they look okay. But if you try to upscale them, they just look awful. Ooh, styrofoam. Now I'll have styrofoam chunk, little circular pieces all over the place. Okay, you have to open the bottom or have to shove it out. We only made 4,000. This is number 826 of the 4,000 made. Let's see if I cut that good enough to open it up. Dun 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 dun. Look at that. Certificate of authenticity. Wow. 2002 Series 1 Star Wars Fan Club. Bom, 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 bom. Oh, that head is awfully big. So, there it is. That's a big head. I'm not going to open it all the way up. That's all I need to do, because it is way too big. You can see if I stuck this head on this figure, it would just be ridiculous. But it is big enough for me to scan in, and I'll have to put my white scanner spray on it and then scan this puppy in and then shrink it down. Now, if I just shrink it down and leave it that skinny, it's just going to look weird. So I am going to bulk it up just a little bit before I stick it on to this figure. So there we go. I have a head that I'm going to use. It's just a matter of scanning it, shrinking it, cleaning up the model, fattening it up a little bit so it's He-Man-ish. And that will be awesome. And then I have to somehow get this little dot something like it designed and stick it right there. I'll probably just mount it right below this piece and leave that on here because this is wires coming up already. So if you have, you know, it kind of is already the wires. It's not quite as wiry as all that. But if I was to mount it like right on there and make it so it just mounts on this piece, that could work pretty good. So there we go. You know, this guy right here, his arms come off. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? It's one of the only classics that the arms come off. Because he was made with the same pieces as Trapjaw. And Trapjaw's arms come off so you could turn him into Kronos. Chrono? I don't know what his name is. I always say it wrong. Waist doesn't come off though. But I forgot I stuck that head on so tight. Hopefully I can get it back off again. All right. There we go. That is my story. Let's see who's still on here with me. Imperial says, at least you can scan it. You need to make custom female robot from Spaceballs. Yes. That will require painting, Todd. It will. But I had to paint this one anyway to make it match. So at least I know how to paint it because I had to paint this one gold and I put a black wash on it to give it almost the same color as this originally. So I've already had to paint one already. It's a pretty easy paint. So I can do that. I'll keep the eyes yellow instead of making them black like they were on this one. And it is kind of cool looking, but it's definitely not C-3PO. All right, let me check out your guys' final comments. It's funny, every time I do a Star Wars video, I always get almost nobody joining me. It's like, dude, it's He-Man or nothing. Come on. Somebody's got to love Star Wars too. I can't be the only He-Man Star Wars fan out there. Oh, a C-3PO Pez head dispenser. That might work too. Good call. I actually saw a McDonald's toy on eBay that I almost picked up where it has the head on some kind of vehicle. Anyway, I'm going to put this back in the foam for now until I get ready to scan it. Probably won't be for a couple weeks because I have a church tomorrow and then back to work on Monday. But I plan on taking some time off from work soon so I can do some cool projects. Put my certificate of authenticity back in there. And put it back in the box. The cool part is after I scan the head in and clean it all up, I can just sell it back on eBay. There's somebody else that wants a limited edition, only opened once for a video and scanning. Rose Tico. Ha! Da 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 da. Action Rose. I really tried selling these. If you bought a dozen of them, so you can give them to a loved one and give them a dozen roses. It's like you guys are just trying to get rid of that figure. So weird. Even this figure doesn't have the silver leg. He has the 2 gold legs. I'm glad he does, though. I'd hate if he had a silver leg like in the movie. Our toys didn't have the silver leg, which is why we all remember it not having the silver leg because our toys didn't. Of course, we got the red-armed one, too. Where's that red-armed one? Where did I stick him? I don't know. Did I put him back in the box? Nope. I've lost my red arm metal C-3PO. Look at this. I've made a little itty bitty Rose figure. Isn't that cool? So you can line them up. Zoop, zoop, zoop. Ding, 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 ding. Let's see. Mike says, I love Star Wars, He-Man, Brave Star, Superpowers, Street Sharks, and then some. Nice. Rickster says He-Man or nothing. Yes. C-3PO female. I almost bought that robot figure they had with in Marvel, I think it was. I don't know, it was called Robot Woman or something. I forget what the figure was called, but she was silver in color. And I was like, you know, that'd be kind of a cool figure to have for Masters. I just love the way she came out. I'm so surprised when I sculpted her hair. I did not think it was going to come out that good. That's funny. Probably my best sculpting hand job I've done in a long time. I didn't sculpt any hair on her. I just left it the way it was. I figured, she wore her hair was different in the Hut Slayer uniform anyway. It's funny, I don't have a Luke or a Han Solo or anybody else. Just, well, I made her for the stop motion. That's why I have her. Because she was too small. Too small! Otherwise, I wouldn't even have Princess Leia, to tell you the truth. I know it's kind of messed up, but come on. We want Darth, we want Boba Fett, we want the robots, and we want to use our regular He-Man figures with those characters. And basically, He-Man would be like a Luke type, and then Man-at-Arms would be like Han Solo type or whatever. So we have our characters we'd use instead. Let's see. Do we have any Voltron fans? Voltron. I'm a big fan of crossing over properties. I would like superheroes like G.I. Joe, Flint, articulation, and accessories. Yes. In fact, I actually mix DC heroes all the time with my He-Man figures. Because I have Batman and Superman in classic size. So it's kind of cool. All right, well, that is it. Thanks for joining me. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and if you do like my videos, share the non-live ones. They seem to get more hits, like the one I made just today about the 3-pack from the PowerCon. And thanks for watching, you guys. And until next time, good journey. Bye now. Let's see. Remember Galoob's version of She-Ra, Golden Girl? Yes. Mike said, mix it all. Nice. Bye now.